The number one station in the streets. 94.9 The City.
Hey world, it's your boy Chico Boom coming to you live right here at 94.9 The City in Fort Myers, Florida. And welcome to the Boombox. Real topics, real people, real conversations. We want to motivate you, want to inspire you. We want you to look at life through a different perspective, through the stories of the individuals that we will have on this show. And today, we got a really special person, a dope person, somebody that I call my friend, Mr. John CULLEN. What's up, John? How you doing today, my brother?
Hey, Boom. Thank you very much for having me on the show. I'm very honored and humbled to be on your show. Thank you very much.
Well, the honor and the pleasure is all mine, my brother. Thank you for taking time. I know you're a busy man. And for all my listeners listening out there, the reason I brought John in, because John has a super dope story, man. For all my viewers, as you can see, his physique is crazy. This man is a 60-year-old dealing with Parkinson's disease, and nothing slows this man down. He is constantly on the move, constantly doing something, constantly motivating himself to do more and not let this condition destroy him, man. He has a really dope story, man. I look at your Instagram and it's crazy. You're doing Spartan workouts, you're doing runs, you're bicycling, you're heavy lifting. John, tell us a little bit about you, like what got you into working out? Was it the disease that, when were you diagnosed? Tell me a little bit about that.
Sure. Well, I think the first thing is I've been athletic all my life. Boom. I've had athletic abilities. I've done things like cycling, running, weightlifting all my life. So that is really nothing new. I've probably done that for 50 years.
Okay.
But I was diagnosed with Parkinson's about 5 years ago when I was 55 years old.
Wow.
And the way I discovered it was I was actually training for a bike ride in the Pyrenees. I was getting ready to ride in the Pyrenees, which is the mountains in France, which is we were going to ride 75 miles a day, climb 10,000 feet on a bicycle. And when I started training that spring, I noticed that my right leg was just a little bit off.
Wow. So you knew right then and there something was wrong.
Something was off, but I didn't really know what it was. And so I just continued to train. I rode the Pyrenees, struggled throughout the entire ride. There were 13 people on the ride, and I was the last person in every single day. So I knew something was up. And at that point, I went to the doctor after I got back from the Pyrenees and was diagnosed with Parkinson's.
Wow. Did you have any other signs before that, though? Was there any shakiness or trembles or anything like that?
Yeah, I think probably for several years before that, I probably had little different signs of it, but I didn't really pay attention to it. Like my hands would shake and that kind of stuff after long rides, but I just thought it was being on the bicycle or whatever. I didn't really think it was anything due to Parkinson's. So those are probably early symptoms of the disease.
So to everybody listening out there and the viewers watching, Parkinson's disease is a disease that got notoriety from Michael J. Fox. A lot of people didn't know about Parkinson's disease before Michael J. Fox. He was the most famous person to have the disease and deal with the disease, battle with it. And he brought light to that disease. A lot of people knew nothing about it. I myself didn't know anything about it until hearing about it as a child, watching Michael J. Fox. And now here you are, and they tell you you have Parkinson's disease. Was Michael J. Fox's first person that popped in your head when they told you that?
Not really. I mean, I had to kind of cope with it, just the diagnosis, at that time. It was kind of like, you're kidding me, right? I mean, I'm 55 years old and I now have this disease I got to cope with.
So you're already a little familiar with the disease. You already knew what it was.
I had to kind of go do some research. I had to kind of figure out what it was. But my first reaction was, what do I need to do to overcome it? What do I need to do to not let this interfere with my life?
Because this ultimately messes and tampers with your nervous system, and you can't really control it, right?
Correct. You become very rigid, very stiff. You have tremors and those kind of things. My biggest sign is that you've seen it. I walk slowly. I tend to drag my leg a little bit. That's all part of Parkinson's. So it's a central nervous disease.
So take me back a little bit. Growing up, you were born where? In Virginia?
I was born in Quantico, Virginia. My dad was a Marine for 34 years. So
wow.
I will tell you, one of the things that happened when I became diagnosed with Parkinson's was I really felt like I had prepared all my life for this battle. when I was a kid, I read all these stories about epic military battles because my dad was in the military. So I read a lot of stories about different battles and those kind of things, and I became obsessed with understanding how people cope with situations where the outcome was in doubt. Like it was life and death, but the outcome was in doubt. And so I read books, I read stories. I became very educated on how people dealt with those situations. So when Parkinson's occurred to me, it's simply a matter of taking all the things that I had learned throughout my lifetime about overcoming obstacles, about not letting a situation get you down, and I took that and internalized that in my battle against Parkinson's.
Now, was there something like an internal voice that told you to do that? Is there something that attracted you for whatever reason, being fate or whatever, that said for some reason you were attracted to those books and kind of preparing yourself for something that you didn't know nothing about? Was it something internally, subconsciously?
It had to be, it had to be, because when I was diagnosed, basically I was like, all right, bring it, let's go, it's on. That's kind of my attitude every day with Parkinson's is, let's go. It's hand-to-hand combat with Parkinson's, in my opinion, every single day.
Now, how was your dad with you growing up? Was he pretty tough? Like, he was a Marine, 35 years. I mean, that couldn't have been easy on its own. That had to be a challenge,
Certainly, my dad was a Marine. I mean, Marines are definitely they're buttoned down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
you don't clean your room, you got a PT, man.
Exactly
Get down, give me some push-ups.
So he definitely instilled a lot of discipline in me.
Right. So you had to get up in the morning. What were some of the things that he'd make you do in the morning? Like, let's say, like, go out there and run, like make your bed, do some push-ups, like PT. Like, was there anything like crazy that he'd make you do? Like,
no, but he led by example. I mean, he was the Marine's Marine. If you can imagine the guy, he was in top physical shape. Did everything he needed to do to stay on top of his game, and so I kind of learned from him how to stay on top of your game physically.
Did you guys move around a lot because he was in the Marines?
Yeah, every 3 years we were on the move. We moved all the time, every 3 years. Typical military family, you're up and moving every 3 years.
Now, being that you come from that type of background, that can either make you or break you, right? So you got some kids that, they come out and they come out disciplined, they come out structured, they come out successful because of what the parent installed into them. You know what I mean? That's sort of discipline. Excuse me. Now there's other kids, right, that'll break them. You know what I mean? They want to run away. They want to get away from that. They don't want to be around that. Well, which one did you fall under? Did you want to get away, or did that make you and really put structure and discipline behind you?
It made me. It really did. It put discipline. It put structure. And honestly, moving every 3 years, you had to assimilate. You know what I mean? In wherever you were, you had to kind of accept your reality and assimilate into that reality. Well, that also has helped me with Parkinson's, right? Because you got to face what you have in front of you and deal with it. So whatever that was, whether you're moving, whether we were in town, on the base, or in a foreign country or whatever, you just had to kind of deal with what you had. So that really helped me from the standpoint when Parkinson's came along. So
you got to travel a lot because of your dad moving around and everything, like you say, every 3 years and stuff like that, adjusting to certain situations. That has obviously helped you adjust with situation, your mobility and whatnot. You used to be able to just throw your pants on in the morning, get up and go. Now you had to sort of adjust, same thing mentally, you know what I mean, a different situation. Here you are, now you have to learn how to do certain things a lot different. Now you probably got to get up earlier now because it takes you longer to get ready. Is that sort of the case right there? Do you feel like him moving around like that and those mental adjustments has allowed you to helped you in adjusting in whatever situation you're in now?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I can tell you one thing, that I look at it as a battle that I need to fight every single day, but I don't get wigged out about it if I can't do something. You know what I mean? I kind of laugh at it because it's a new discovery every day as in terms of what I can't do.
Right.
So yeah, and I do get up earlier, or I do have to allow time to get dressed because it does take a little bit more time to get dressed now and those kind of things. But that's all just part of the game. I mean, and I consider it to be just that. It's not. I don't look at it as a death sentence. I don't look at it as something that I gotta, be weeping about every single day. And I want nobody to take pity on me at all, because I don't pity myself.
Right.
And this is about facing what I have to face and dealing with it every single day.
So tell me the average day for you, John. You get up in the morning at what time?
Oh, this is on radio. I gotta make something up. Well, I'm up at 4 a.m.
4 a.m.
No.
What time do you get up in the morning? It's just like
6 a.m.
6 a.m. and you hit the gym right away?
Usually by the gym about 8 o'clock.
Wow. And how long do you work out for?
Well, it depends. If my trainer, probably an hour with my trainer and an hour by myself. So a couple hours at the gym every single day.
Wow. I mean, because you're ripped, bro. Like the first time we met, like I would have never thought you had Parkinson's. I know you moved a little slow. I thought maybe, I don't know, you know what I mean? Just like to take your time. I just thought this guy just likes to take his time. But I mean, your physique is crazy. You're 60 years old and you're in way better shape than a lot of people that I know that are 60 or even 50 or 40 or 30.
Right. Yeah.
Do you feel, how do you feel about those individuals that, for example, they complain and they're not happy with themselves, with their physical appearance, but they do nothing about it? You know what I mean? You got overweight people, but you go to McDonald's and those are the same people there stuffing their face. Like, what do you feel like telling them, hey, like, look at me, I'm dealing with Parkinson's, you know what I mean? Does that sort of give you a rage, or do you feel sorry for them, or do you try to motivate them? Like, how does that make you feel?
Well, I try not to judge them. I mean, everybody's got to deal with their own what they got, right?
Exactly.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned. So I don't look at somebody and say, you need to overcome your fatness or your out of shapeness, like I'm overcoming my Parkinson's. I got my deal, they got theirs.
You just keep on pushing.
Yeah, keep on pushing. I can't. I don't try to get involved with other people's issues like that.
Absolutely, well said. Now, there was a gentleman that you met not too long ago at my parlor, and he has Parkinson's.
Yeah.
Now, come to find out, he was a Marine,
Yes.
and he was at the same base where your father was, where
Right.
you were.
Yeah.
Now, tell us a little bit about that situation, because that was an interesting story. You say that because of the base, the water that was at this base, the side effects, Parkinson's was one of them.
Right. So what the military was doing was they were dumping engine degreaser. They clean all these aircraft engines, jet engines and stuff like that. They were dumping all this degreaser and all these chemicals right into the ground, right near wells that were boiling water, basically, for people to drink and shower and bathe in.
Wow.
So and they did this for 20, 30 plus years. The military knew about it at some point, didn't really do anything about it. And so it turned out to be one of the largest water contamination things in the United States right now.
Wow.
So this gentleman, I think he could be suffering from Parkinson's because of that water quality issue. And I know that's got to be what caused my Parkinson's, because there's nothing in my family that no one else has ever had in my family.
Wow. And it's crazy. I mean, you're two different individuals. You guys just met a few weeks ago.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you both, have that military base, in
As
common.
yeah.
And that's, you
Right.
never met this guy before. You guys were never, raised in the same neighborhood and so forth and so on. And here you guys are battling the same disease. And, both of you are taking it for what it is. He's a very positive person too.
Yeah.
You're a positive person. Obviously you're self-driven and you're physically in great shape. But it's crazy, and now the government are they doing anything about it? Or are they compensating you guys for anything, or they're just kind of like trying to brush it under the carpet?
I think they're doing what the government always does, whatever that happens to be. I mean, they're compensating people for some of their medical expenses and things like that. But
you haven't seen anything.
And I haven't applied for anything. Honestly, it's just I don't think it'd be worth the hassle from my standpoint.
Right.
I wasn't in the military. Like, this gentleman was in the military, so he has other benefits available to him. I was a dependent on the base. My dad was stationed there. Dependents don't get the same kind of treatment. So.
Wow. Now, how's your father's health? Right? He hasn't dealt with Parkinson's?
He seems to be fine.
Is he still?
He's still hanging around. Right?
He's still making you PT.
Not as much.
So let's fast forward a little bit. So from the base until now, 55 years old. They tell you have Parkinson's. You're doing this laps or bicycling around Paris. Like, what are some of the places you've been at that they used to ride your bike through?
Oh, I've ridden all over. I lived on the East Coast in Virginia for 10, 15 years. I biked up and down the East Coast all over the place. 200-300-mile bike rides were not uncommon. I used to race for actually 10 years. I used to race a bicycle. So
your physique was a lot different.
Oh my God, I was a lot lighter. I was built much more for running and riding than I am today. I don't run very much anymore, and I don't ride at all.
Do you miss it?
I did it to such an extreme level that I don't miss it I don't really miss it at all.
Like, what type of distance did you used to go to? Like 7 miles, 10 miles, 20 miles?
Oh, on the running, I would do anywhere from 5 to 15 to a marathon. Whatever was going on out there.
That's freaking crazy.
Yeah.
Man.
So in the cycling, when I was racing, I was riding 250 miles a week training. So that's a lot of miles on a bicycle every single week.
Wow.
So I don't think I miss it, because I've done so much of it.
So you're in a happy place now?
I'm in a really good place. I'm in a really excellent spot.
So now you don't do the bicycling no more, obviously.
Yeah.
You get into this, CrossFit. You've been working out for the last 5 years. Obviously, there's a huge difference in your physique now from then. But what are some of the things? What are other things that you do to deal with Parkinson's? Obviously, this is having a great effect on you. And now we were just talking earlier before the show, and you were telling me that you were doing a certain type of workout prior. Now you're doing you trying to kind of changed up your routine a little bit. Now you're doing a lot of heavy lifting. I'm looking on you on Instagram. Like, what are you lifting right now? You had chains and plates on there. Like, it looked like it was like 1,000 pounds on those things, man. What are you lifting?
I'm now doing powerlifting, which is basically squat, deadlift, and bench press.
Now, why did you change from the CrossFit to
part of it was, as Parkinson's tends to advance, it becomes harder for me to do some of those coordinated moves like snatch, clean, those kind of things. I don't have the coordinated effort to do those anymore. I just don't. I mean, I don't have that ability. So I wanted to continue to lift weights, and I wanted to do something different. And I actually am finding that this powerlifting, it's a heavy lifting, is actually helping my Parkinson's. I feel like I'm stronger, I'm less rigid, I'm more upright. It seems to be the key right now.
Well, for people that don't know you, I mean, obviously I do, so I see the difference. I mean, you came in after powerlifting, and you seem to have more energy. You're talking faster. You know what I mean? When you were doing CrossFit, it was you're talking a lot slower. You know what I mean? I'm seeing you a little more energized now.
Yeah. I don't want to disparage CrossFitters.
No, I'm not.
It has nothing to do with that. I think it just,
we're not. We're just talking about you and the effect it's having on you.
Right.
Everybody's different, right? But you look great. You look great, and you look great doing it. But I also see you involved in Spartan races and out there. Like, you really tell me about the boot. I'm looking at those pictures on Instagram. I'm pulling them up right now. Right. And you had a boot on while you were doing CrossFit. Like, were you injured? What was that about?
Last year I blew out my Achilles tendon.
And you still competed?
February. Well, I blew out my tendon, and then I got out of the boot at the end of April, and then started Spartan Racing in June. Wow. So, but if we could just stop on the Spartan race again, the reason I do things like Spartan Racing is it's hard for me I'm not as coordinated on some of these obstacles.
Right.
But part of the reason I do that is because I want to be in a situation where the outcome is in doubt. I'm not sure I can finish these races.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I still do them. And I want to be put in a situation where I have to get through it. I have to make it through. You know what I mean? So that's why I love doing these Spartan races, because I'm not a Spartan racer
for all
at all.
Everybody listening right now, go to CULLEN, CULLEN _1, and follow my friend John Cullen here, so you can see kind of pictures of before and after and what he looks like. If you're not watching this on YouTube, everybody listening, I mean, it's intense. I mean, you do wall climbing, you do lifting, you do running. Right. Like, you're like, like the Terminator. You know what I mean? Yeah. You are really out there getting it. No excuses. You don't believe in excuses, do you, John?
No, I don't. I'm not going to use my disability as a crutch. It's just not me. That's not who I am.
Does that frustrate you when people do use excuses for certain things? Like they just, I can't, you know what I mean? They use that word a lot. And you're obviously somebody that's proven that you can.
It doesn't frustrate me, but I feel bad for them because obviously they're in this headset that says I can't do it, and I don't want to try it.
Do you feel like it's a mental thing?
Yeah, I think it is. Definitely. I think these people have. It depends. They may not have been athletic all their life. I mean, to me, I didn't have to stop being athletic. Now they may have to start even like walking around and that kind of stuff that they're not doing. So I don't know. I think mostly it's mental.
What are your goals for the next 5 years? You've been dealing with it for 5 years now. What are some of your goals for the next 5 years?
So one of the things I want to investigate this year it's called DBS, which is deep brain stimulation. They actually put electrodes in your brain.
Oh wow!
And
how does that work?
I'm going to find out. but I think what they're going to do is they're going to put this is a very successful process. I mean, it's been repeatable. They put electrodes in your brain and they fire those electrodes. And it overcomes a lot of the Parkinson's issues like rigidity, stiffness, slowness. So I want to investigate that, and within the next 12 to 24 months, I want to go do it.
Wow! And where do they do that at? Is that like a clinic you got to go to?
Well, I've got a name of a doctor in Miami.
So
I'm going to try to go see him.
Is that something relatively new that they just come out with?
No, I think it's been around for several years. But it's I had a friend who did it, and the results were phenomenal. He went from being rigid, like you've seen me, to being like riding a skateboard again. I mean,
what are the side effects of it? I mean, I gotta have some crazy side effects. You're dealing with your brain over there.
Yeah, I'm not sure there's any side effects. I think there's more.
It can't be any worse than a microwave, right?
I guess I gotta know what I don't know what the side effects are. I think at some point it wears off. Like they do it, and then 5 years later it doesn't work.
Okay.
I think because your Parkinson's.
It was like Rogaine almost. You got to keep using it.
They'll come up with something else.
If you don't use it,
Yeah, so, my philosophy is I like to, if I do it, they'll have something else in 5 years.
So we talked about, while you had the parlor and whatnot, and you told me you don't like dealing with the medications.
Right.
You don't like it. Yeah. What are the side effects of the medication? Like you're not like shaky. And,
no,
and nothing like that. Like if anybody knew you or saw you or whatever, you just your mobility is a little slower, but you're not all shaky and trembling and nothing like that.
Right. I don't have the tremble.
Is that something that the medicine calms down? Is it trembles?
It can. Some of the medication can actually cause it to be a little bit worse.
Wow.
When you see Michael J. Fox really, moving around like he's moving, that's really actually the medication where it's affecting him that badly. So some of the meds can cause that kind of.
So when you see him shaking like that, he's on his meds,
right? But the one medication I was on last year, which I'm no longer on, it was it caused a lot of what I would consider to be borderline behaviors. I mean, it can cause problem gambling.
Really?
Sexual addictions. Yeah, all this kind of crazy stuff.
These are side effects of the medication.
Of the medication, right? So
it kind of like unstables you mentally.
It makes you much more risk tolerant of highly risky things like going and betting all your money in Vegas or
and that's the crazy thing about medication. It's like, okay, we're gonna attack this one thing,
right? Exactly.
But you're gonna have 35 other things that you're gonna have to deal with. So we'll take away we'll calm your Parkinson's, but you're gonna be a sex addict with a gambling problem. You know what I mean? Like that's
sounds good to me,
that sounds good to me. Let's do it. You know what I mean? So and that's the thing with these pharmaceutical companies. Right. It's like they take away one problem and give you 30 more problems. So now you're a sex offender and you're dead broke. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So, so I'm off that medication, by the way.
Yeah, John's not taking that medication, guys. He is not taking that medication. He is off those meds. He's not gambling. He's not out there being a sex addict or anything. How about marijuana? How do you feel about marijuana? I mean, we're here in the state of Florida. Marijuana is legal for medical use, obviously. A lot of states have legalized it. Colorado, California, and so many other. But here we are, Florida. I didn't see it coming this fast that they would legalize it, but they did, and it's been working great for some people. And other people say that they don't have no use in it. You know what I mean? Some people that they were really happy and rushing to get their medical cards. Other people choose it not to go through that route. You know what I mean? How do you feel about marijuana when you're conditioned, let's say Parkinson's?
So I use marijuana. I use CBD oil. I use the marijuana. I smoke the vape pens periodically. I haven't found that it does much for me, but maybe I'm just not looking at the results correctly. It actually does more for pain. I feel like when I'm smoking marijuana, I don't hurt as much, but that's just, that's different than the Parkinson's. I suppose it causes some people to be relieved. I haven't noticed anything.
So people over there using every little excuse. I can't sleep. I need weed. I can't do you know what I mean? I can't walk. I need weed.
I got glaucoma.
Yeah, I got glaucoma. I need to smoke. Arthritis. I got to smoke.
Right.
And here you are with Parkinson's. You're saying, hey, man, look, I don't know what it does. I mean, a little bit for the pain, but other than that, it doesn't help with the shakes or anything like that.
I tell you, I'd rather go to the gym. I mean, that's my whole MO.
More natural.
Right? It just, I feel like, and I've told this to Seth at DNA, the gym I go to. I feel like I'm normal.
Shout out to Seth over there at DNA, man. We're going to get him on the show too, man.
That's great, man. You should.
He's
awesome.
He's dope, man, like all the way around.
But when I'm there, I feel normal. I feel like I'm a normal human being when I'm there. So I like being in that space.
Right.
It's got a good atmosphere, and so I'd rather
put you in a good mental place.
Yeah, I'd rather take a trip to the gym than sit outside and smoke a joint.
Right. So
no aspersion against somebody who wants to smoke a joint. I really don't. It doesn't bother me.
But you said for the pain it helps. So if you're out there in those Spartan races, they kick your ass. You know what I mean? And you got you got to smoke
Stop
a little
along the way.
Halfway
through the race.
Do you prefer the flower? You prefer vaping? The oils? What do you prefer?
Here, I'm a pro on this stuff now. Let's see. I like the vaping just because it's easier.
It's easier, cleaner. You don't have to sit there and break it up.
Right, exactly. Find my bong somewhere.
Are you a sativa or indica type of guy? You like the upper or downer?
Depends on the time of day, right?
Depends on the time. There you go.
Right.
There you go, man.
Yeah.
So now, the weed, obviously, the marijuana doesn't really do too much for you. You say you rather go to the gym. You're attacking it more. You have a more natural strategy to attack it. What's your diet like? Like, what are you eating? Like, are you eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Are you doing a late breakfast, dinner? Like, are you eating?
So I'm trying this 16-8 diet, but I haven't been very successful on that.
What is 16-8?
So you fast for 16. It's intermittent fasting. So you fast for 16 hours and you eat, and then for 8 hours you can eat, pretty much anything you want.
Right.
The issue I'm having with that is by the time that 16 hours is over, I'm ready to just eat my arm off. I'm ready to go to McDonald's.
Anything.
Yeah. So
Anything.
I think I'm going to go off of that and just go back to my regular diet, which is all food.
Food.
It's very few very few supplements and no unnatural stuff at all. No sugar. I don't do sugar. I try to keep the carbs low. But I do meat. I mean, I'm not a vegan. So sorry, Jonas.
Well, I am. You know what I mean. I am.
Sorry.
But it's all right. I did it for health issues, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I was having bad migraines and headaches, and that's something that we're going to talk about with Jonas when we put him, we get him on the show.
Great.
And we're going to get into that. But I found it to be useful for me, and we said everybody's different. Everybody's body's different. Everybody reacts different to certain things. Some people can eat meat their whole lives and not have any issues, you know what I mean? That wasn't the case for me.
Yeah.
What does a normal, typical day consist of, starting with your meals, with breakfast, for example?
So it's kind of boring. 5 eggs in the morning.
5 eggs in the morning.
Right. A couple pieces of toast, off to the gym. At 11 o'clock, half a cup of oatmeal and 2 more eggs.
So you eat half a carton of eggs every day.
Yeah, man, I am. Sorry to the chickens out there. They got to keep moving.
So you're not into the whole let me diet different to try to attack the disease, because
I have cleaned up my diet over the years. I mean, I definitely have cleaned up the diet from having any sugar and that kind of stuff.
Right.
But I haven't gone to the vegan portion. I haven't gone to the non-meat.
Because there's a lot of nutritionists that argue that, and they'll say, look, you know what I mean, stop eating meat, it'll help with the disease and so forth and so on. You know what I mean? It gets deep in there. You know,
I'm sure we'll get some comments on the site, which will be fine.
They're talking about your acid versus alkaline and diet and whatnot. You know what I mean? So some people will say that cutting out the meat would be beneficial for your disease, but you're not there yet.
I'm not there yet, but we'll see. Maybe that's where I end up. You know, I don't know. I spent the last few years trying to figure out what exercise regime works for me best. Now that I think I've got that, maybe the next thing is to figure out whether vegan makes sense for me.
Yeah, so you're a very open-minded person. You'll always try something.
I'm not going to close. I'm not going to close my mind to it. I probably need to do a little more research actually to find out whether it would work for me.
Right. I think I feel a little bit safer going the vegan route than that whole waves in the brain and all that. You know what I mean?
Oh no, I'll probably do all of it. You know,
do all of it.
Whatever works.
The hell with it. Are you, John? At this point in your life, 60 years old, 5 years dealing with Parkinson's. What do you fear? What is your biggest fear right now? Are you scared of anything?
Yeah. The unknown. You know, I mean, what worries me the most is what's coming. You know what I mean? What do I look like in 5 years? What will I look like in 10? You look at Ali, right? He had Parkinson's, right? The man was a specimen. You know, he was a physical specimen. He was a hell of a boxer. Look what he looked. You know, look at the end of his life. You know, look, he could barely move. Right. So that bothers me. That kind of stuff worries me every day.
Right.
You know what? So I want to live my life every day,
but that pushes you, doesn't it? I mean, that motivates you right there. Like knowing that could be you one day, and it makes you go harder. Like my question is, why isn't Michael J. Fox working out the way you're working out? Right? Why wasn't Ali? And there was, or are they behind the closed door? Maybe we don't know. You know what I mean? Like, but I see these individuals, and it's sad. You know what I mean? And those are people that you look up to as a child, and you see them go from being your hero to being, sort of paralyzed. You know what I mean?
But I think it's just a natural progression of the disease. I think at some point I'm afraid it's like a wave. At some point, it's going to overtake me. It's just gonna wash over me at some point, and I'm gonna lose the battle. I mean, I really think that's gonna happen. You know, I'm trying to be realistic, right? I'm not gonna say I'm never gonna give up, and I'm never gonna give up. But at some point, I think it's just gonna take its toll, because I think that's what it does. It's nefarious. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's gonna win, but I'm gonna go down fighting.
But you're ready for it, though. I mean, you said it. You said it that this is just another battle for you. You know what I mean?
Oh, damn right. Bring it on.
And you're taking these battles on one by one, and whatever life throws at you, you're gonna see it head on. You know what I mean? And that's the type of person that you've always seen to me, and we've had some dope conversations, man. I mean. We could talk for hours and hours, me and you, when you're at the parlor.
Thank you.
You've told me some great stories, man. Do you feel like these diseases that we are dealing with every single day, you look at cancer at an all-time high. Cancer wasn't around, my great-grandma was growing up, right? We didn't hear about that. Do you feel like some of these diseases are man-made? Do you feel like they're coming up with stuff in the lab and they're releasing it onto us, pharmaceutical companies, so they can make a bunch of money off of us? Or, you know what I mean? Just maybe they experimented and it went wrong, and now there's a disease out there that they can't control. Do you feel like some of these are man-made, or are they something that comes naturally?
That's kind of out of my realm. It's out of my realm. I really don't. I think a lot of these are results of what we've done to the environment. Maybe not in a lab, but the fact that we shove all these toxins into the air every day. We pollute the groundwater. I met my mom. Never smoked, and she died of cancer 2 years ago.
Wow!
And we believe it's because of the drinking water at Camp Lejeune. So,
same camp,
same place. So so those kind of things I think naturally are going to increase, because I think we're just damaging the earth.
Wow! And that's very interesting. I agree with you on that. I agree that we are damaging the earth. And we are damaging ourselves, but I feel like we're damaging our foods and other things that. You're talking about products and soaps and all that good stuff. You know what I mean? I just feel like all that has an effect.
It does.
We're not caring. You know what I mean? So that's very interesting, John. 60 years old, Spartan champion, bicyclist. Like you're doing it all, man. I'm very, very, very impressed by you. It's an honor to have you on this show. It's a pleasure to call you my friend. I hope that this motivates and inspires people that are dealing with Parkinson's, or maybe people that are not familiar with the actual disease, to do a little bit more research. But I also wanted to motivate people. I wanted you on the show because you're self-driven. And I think, you know, unlike you, I'm a little bit more savage. You know, it pisses me off when I see people that are undriven. It pisses me off when I see people that come up with excuses. You know what I mean? I know you're super chill and you love everybody. I do too. But you know what I mean? I get a little pissed off and a little irritated when I see these people, you know, laying on the couch, stuffing their face with potato chips. But yet these are the same people complaining, looking at themselves in the mirror, saying, I want to be here. Why haven't I met my goal? And here you are every single day attacking your goal. And your goal is to live longer, to live better, to live healthier, to do more with your life than just sit around. That, John, I salute. I congratulate you. I'm always rooting for you. I'm always in your corner. I'm happy to call you my friend. But I hope that the listeners that are out there, that this really touches them and that it can motivate them, and maybe they can cut some of their excuses out and think about you next time when they're too lazy to get off the couch and go do those exercises and accomplish those goals. That way they can look how they want to look. They can feel the way they want to feel. We're not going to be here forever. We only got one vessel. This is the one vessel that we got on the short journey called life, and we should take care of it as much as possible. You, my friend, have a vessel that the nervous system has been tampered with, and you continue to take care of yourself. Just amazing story, amazing motivation, man. I hope you guys really get something out of this. John Cullen, follow him again, Cullen_1 on Instagram, man. My gosh, thank you so much, my friend, for being on the show. Appreciate this is the Boombox. Real topics, real people, real conversations. Like I said, we want to motivate you. We want to inspire you. And we wanted you to look at life from a different perspective, the stories of the individuals that we will be having on this show. John Cullen, my friend. 94.9 The City, you already know what it is, man. It's the Boom, baby.